everybody. Good morning and welcome to Mystics MMOs. I'm your host, Mystic Raven. How is everybody doing? I hope everybody is having a very good morning today. All right, so yesterday I did something completely crazy and, just out there. Something I probably have never done. I've never been the type to... I always call things for how they are, not for how they will be. Because, I live with a realistic perspective of, percentage or, the likelihood, right? That's just who I am, right? I'm a realist. I understand things from the probability factor, I guess you'd say. And yesterday I did something a little, I guess in a way I kind of poked and called it out. So I set the clock. The proverbial or metaphorical doomsday clock. I don't know if it was such a good idea because I kind of feel like, wow, I can't believe I just did that. But only time will tell. Now time will tell. Because, I've been doing this for so god dang long. And it took me back to my little moment with SOE years ago when I told a very specific important person I wouldn't do that. And they were like, we don't give a fuck, Mystic. We're moving forward. And I was like, okay, go ahead. It's on you. Yeah, what could possibly happen? I don't know. This could just end up blowing up in everybody's faces. And of course, I was written off and ignored along with other players. So it wasn't just me. And I will clarify that. There were other people involved who gave their opinions, their professional opinions, their experienced opinions, and it was still falling on deaf ears. Now, years later, I feel like I'm in that seat again with the company and saying, listen, guys, I have been doing this for a god dang long time. And some of the top people in your company know who I am. Why? Because I've worked with them on their other projects in the past. So they know my reputation. They know where I'm coming from. So, and I've been a part of that. They can contest to that. So we'll see. We'll see how it falls. Well, I may have just solidified or just became a laughing joke, either way, of the gaming industry. But because I've never done this. I've never done this. This is something, you usually are betting on absolutes. If nothing gets done, I'm pretty much banking that it's going to be a reality. And for multiple reasons. I'm not going to get into the technicality of it. But now if things are, if they, speed things up in the process and they can resolve these issues in a timely manner, which I hope they do, and that's why I hope I'm wrong, things could play out quite opposite for ZeniMax Online Studio. And I hope for everybody's sake it does, to be honest with you. But we'll see. We'll see how it pans out. But, did I have the balls to do it? Well, I've always had bigger balls than most players. So I will. Some of these content creators, and I'm not pointing fingers, and I'm not like calling anybody out specifically, don't have the cojones to do anything. They're content creators. That's all they are. And there's a difference there. There is a huge difference between, where you're at. Are you a gamer? There's a lot of gamers out there. Gamers is what makes up the industry. It's supply and demand. Players demand products, and the industry supplies them, and nothing wrong with the gamer. Gamer is a consumer. It's a critic. It's like a person who likes, who partakes in different, foods, wines, whatever, and picks and choose their, based on their palate or their preference. So that's how I look at the gaming industry. The gaming industry is just like anything else. What do you like and what do you dislike about, a certain, thing you're consuming, any type of food or beverage. So that's, that's kind of drawn in between the lines, kind of saying, oh, okay, well, this is this and this is that. Oh, okay, cool, cool. But then I take a look at the next tier players, which are testers. And anybody can be a tester, right? Once again, a gamer is just wants to take it up to the next level, right? Well, I should say there's gamers, then pros. So there's pro gamers, paid gamers, who are competitive gamers. So I'll put testers up above the paid gamers, and I'll explain why. Paid gamers or pros are competitive. They are the attraction to a product. This is their livelihood. This is what draws the crowd to the products. It's like basically advertisement on a larger scale. It's like, football, for gamers. Players love to watch competitive players. So you have Twitch, you have YouTube, you have Pro League, all of these different factors moving into professional gaming. So professional gaming is very, very much a real thing. So gamers get bored. They think that they can do something more and be more productive towards offering something to an audience. Then you have content creators. So there's a difference between pro player, because pro players can stream, but they're not necessarily content creators, meaning they are, providing entertainment, they are attracting individuals, but they're not really providing any insight into the context of the game they're playing. They're just playing to draw the attention. Content creators are actually trying to educate their viewers or provide some sort of, insight to that specific product. So now you have content creators. So, they're, within that same, tier or the genre, they're still paid, they're still respected. It's still a gamer that's elevated his level of experience. And then you go from these phases to the testers, right? Now, anybody can start off as a tester. Even if you're not a content creator, you're like, oh, I'm not a content creator. I'm definitely not a content creator. I'm definitely more along the lines of, wanting to be a tester. I don't want to do content creating. I want to get to try the game out, find bugs. Now, a tester isn't a person who just tries the game to decide if they like it. A tester is a person who plays the game to isolate the issues within the game itself, right? That's very important for what? The developers, because a tester is a tool that the developers don't have access to from an opinion as well as bug hunting. So testers not only just give opinions, but they give feedback, right? Great feedback. How do you like the game? Does the HUD feel good? Interaction work good? How's all of this, feeling to you? That's very important. Now, during beta phase, the testers are pretty much there for server stress tests. A lot of developers write off most beta testers, I'll be honest with you. But closed beta, they're taking a little bit more serious. And even if you're an alpha tester, you're hand selected. You are like considered the cream of the crop as a gamer. You're not as important as the developer, but you are very, very much a necessity to that team, because they give you an itinerary. They give you something to manage your time with. And there are literally hundreds, maybe thousands of these type of testers. And, and they take their position serious. They really do. Okay, sorry about that. But anyways, then you go from there, and then you have like Q&A people. The next step up, you know, a tester did good. All of a sudden, he's brought into the industry. He's a Q&A. Then you have, you know, gamers who become developers and so on and so forth. You know, it doesn't stop. Gonna single target this. Spread out. All right. How much you guys want to bet I didn't get no technical difficulties this morning either? Oh shit. Ah shit. Go, 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 go. There it is, there it is, there it is. Go. Of course. Oh no 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 no! There it is! There it is! There it is! Alright, here we are. Sorry about that. Let's go. What the hell? Don't move this shit. You know what I think is going to be funny, and this is just me. I honestly think what's going to be hilarious is if this ends up panning out, if this pans out the way I anticipate it to, most people will try to ignore it, try to sweep it under the rug. All these content creators, but you know what? The ones who know will always know. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I get 100 views. It doesn't matter if I get 1,000. It doesn't matter if I get 1,000,000. It doesn't matter. I set that fucking clock. And for the people who know me, it will ever, forever, forever burn in their minds and be reminded why I was hand-selected, why I was hand-picked, why I was considered one of the top in the industry when it came to the testing phases. So, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. It'll be forever. I'll be forever set in that, you know, known genre. It'll be like, you know, people come and go, and people will be like, yeah, but Mystic Raven back in the day had the balls to say it. Mystic Raven didn't give a fuck about viewers. Mystic Raven, and it'll be forever synonymous. Mystic Raven, I remember when Mystic Raven had the balls to call out this company. 10 years from now, that shit will be forever plastered. I promise you. It'll breathe out of somebody's tongue. I was just talking to somebody who used to do some stuff and was like, dude, I still remember. I'm like, yeah, I remember that. And they're like, you know, like, you really did go there. And I'm like, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. But only like certain people know that. And I'm like, but you know who knows it? It's not the consumers. It's not the viewers. It's not those people I'm trying to get their attention. It's the people in the industry who know who I am. Like I told one stalker, I was like, why would I care about you? Who are you? Like, and who are you to me? You're nobody. You're like, you're insignificant. You know, I've gotten to work with some of the top end companies in the industry. I've gotten to work on some of the games that you love so goddamn much. I was there during its development phases. So who are you? Like, who are you to me? Like, I was the one saying, no, I don't like this, or yes, and then people would also give their feedback. And as a collective, we impacted the development. We made the game a little better. Not to say we conceived it, we made it just a little bit more enjoyable from a certain perspective. And it's like, those are the moments that as a tester you enjoy, because you want the developer to develop the game that they're envisioning, right? But you want it to have, you know, an element of fun, replayability, all of these factors. And that's where people like me come in. It's like, yeah, I'm a dick. I'm a huge asshole. I get it. Put him to bed. Boom, 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 boom. I don't know who that is. I'm not worried about it. Wasn't gonna proc it, shouldn't have. I don't know if he's gonna pull all the way or not, but yeah, it looks like the IQ definitely resolved itself a lot better today. Thank fucking God. Just takes a little bitching, people, I promise you. I like this tank. Yeah, it's gonna be hard, man, if this shit goes down. If it doesn't, so what? It's like, okay, I was wrong. That's actually a good thing. But if there's a crash, one crash, it'd be fucked. Oh shit, not that one. Ah, shit. Oh shit, man. Nice. Sylvia, morning. How you doing? How you doing, Sylvia? I hope you're doing good. I hope you're having a good day. The tank was the beast. I'm giving it to him all day. All flipping day. Oh my god. It's a new minion. Oh my god. It looks like a ferret, but it's not. It's a werit. It is a ferret. Oh, you got it! Oh, I wanted the ferret. I got the turtle. So. Damn it! It's a ferret. It's a ferret. It's a ferret. Oh my. Oh my, oh my. Okay, listen, I'll be right back. I gotta throw some laundry in the dryer. 1 second. All right, so I have a meeting today here, and like, I got to get off here in about 40 minutes. So I'm like, oh my God, my day is just starting, but so far, okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Starting is a good thing. Starting is a good thing. So, it's been crazy, man. It's been crazy. I did something nuts last night, Sylvia. Did something I thought I'd never do, and I was like, I'm calling a prediction. Hope I'm wrong. I always hope I'm wrong on those type of things, man. If I say something, I want to be wrong. Like, a lot of people I don't think understand me. Like, a lot of people are like, oh, you're such an asshole. And it's like, yeah, I get it. I am an asshole. I grant you. No. All right. I mean, I do admit that I am a kind of a dick when it comes to a lot of things, and I just am. But I don't always like my, my wife always like, you always feel like you have to be right, and I'm like, I don't always feel like I have to be right. It's not the point. I'm not, when I say something, it's not trying to be right. It's trying to give a, an insight to say, hey, man, something bad's gonna happen if you continue. It's like common sense marked with, some experience. It's like, take it for what it's worth, man. If you feel like you have to learn the hard way, and at least you'll learn. But if you do things and you're not learning and you're not progressing, then what are you doing, man? Why do companies, people, why do they repeat the same mistakes? That's something I don't understand, and I don't get. It's like, why do you insist? It's okay to try something different. It's okay to be like, we'd like to see, what happens. I've been like that. I've been inquisitive, but it's not okay if you've been down that road or you've seen those results and you continue to make the same bad mistakes. Now, in a company's, it's weird because the individual I'm meeting today, we were talking about how the changing of business or the evolution of business. We were talking about that. How one time, companies valued the spreadsheet versus the consumer, and at the end of the day, spreadsheets will produce results, right? Which is true. Can't say it won't. But you lose momentum along the way because you've tarnished the relationship. And there's a relationship. There's a correlating relationship between companies and consumers. And it's like, that's why there's a thing called public relations. It makes sense. And I thought this individual, he's slightly younger than me, slightly, but we have a similar background. And well, he's still in an industry that I used to be very proactive in. But, hey. God, I love some of these graphics when you come along in it. I'll tell you what, for a game that's whatever, how old ever this is, the graphics have held up so beautiful. It's still amazing, stunning actually. I'm froze, stuck, or something. Something's got me petrified. Don't hit it. Oh shit. Can I hit it? Can I hit it? Boom, 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 boom. Oh shit, I forgot I can't run everywhere on this part. Forgot. Boom, 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 boom. No, don't stand in the poison. Don't move with me. Don't move with me. Oh. No shit. Boom, 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 boom. It's only 5:56 my time, just good or bad. Because some people don't learn from their mistakes and in turn continue to do the same thing in hopes for new results. Insanity, right? Plus, some people really do lack or have common sense. Well, you know, the funny thing about it is, I understand that. I agree. Like I don't understand why or how, but and there's people with common sense that lacks, you know, some intellect and some things, and I get that. But I'd like to think that, you know, there could be a nice, you know, healthy, you know, like you want to, like you just want to explore both things, man. You just and yeah, it's and I agree with you. It's like some people never want to learn. They'd rather, you know, I guess some people want to just learn the hard way, though it baffles me as to why. Oh shit. Boom, 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 boom. This one's gonna be a bitch. No, I'm gonna get turned into one. I did. No. Wow. I'm a flipping plant. You're so dead. Boom, 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 boom. That song's in my head now. Watching this popular dancer, supposedly, you know, gnome tunes and stuff. I'm like, she's okay. She's okay. I'm like, I feel like she's got more of a look than, you know, and you know, good moves, but I wasn't like overly impressed. I'm like, she's good, sure. I know that sounds horrible, right? I'm like, I'm not cracking on her, but I can see why people would want to watch her, you know. Gotta go over here, I'm gonna die. Poor dude got ripped. That's right. Drop it low, girl. Drop it. Drop. Song's gonna be stuck in my head all flipping day. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I don't know why some people lack the common sense that's needed. I don't get it. I really don't. What's amazing is the people who I appreciate you, Sam, for using your diversion. You are truly 1% of the DPS community. Thank you. Thank you very much. See? See that? You see that? That fucking take just gave it up to me. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You see that? That is so awesome. Who knows? Mystic knows. Mystic knows, man. Don't doubt me, man. Don't doubt me. I've been doing this a long time. Boom, 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 boom. Drop it low, girl. Drop it low, girl. Oh, I'm trying to... Oh, 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 oh. Pass on that. No, 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 don't kick that off. Ah, shit. Bye. Peace out, Boy Scout. Boom, 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 boom. I'm giving it up to the tank for just complimenting me. Just for complimenting me. He gets it. He's like, you are the 1% of the DPS. Well, thank you so much for paying it to... Like, there... See, it doesn't go unnoticed, people. It doesn't go unnoticed. What's up, Dave? Purple, yo, what's up, dude? Dude, you see what I did last night, man? I had some balls. Boy, my nuts got big. Man, I'm going to... If it comes to fruition, I'll be forever... Like, I'm already known in the industry. Yeah, I'm gonna fluff it up a little bit. Like, you know, hey, you know, pop the collar. Pop the collar. Pop it, pop it, pop it. But if it comes to fruition... Yeah, it'll be cemented. It'll be forever cemented in the industry. Why I was the man to go to for these companies. It'll forever be known. Oh, oh, oh. And then this tank's like, dude, thank you for using your diversion. I was like, yo, man, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. You know, a little experience. I'm the 1%. I am the 1% of the gaming community. Oh, 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 oh. I am the 1% of the gaming community. Oh, I love it. Just, it's so awesome, man. Every day. That's why I even said, like, Outcast can have 50,000. This person can have 100,000. They're not on par. They never will be. They're popular. I'll give them that. But they are not on my level. They've never been on my level. They could never compare to my level. It's like, be gone, peasants. Be gone. After 20 years, and you've done as much as I've done, you'll learn. Here's my advice. Don't get involved. Don't do it. Don't do it. I remember people asking me, like, what's it like? I remember my friends coming over to my house, even. It's like, oh my God, what game are you on now? And I'm like, get out of my room, man. I can't discuss this. I can't talk about it. And they're like, oh my God, this looks so cool. And I'm like, yo, man, get the fuck out. Because I'd have my own little, like, office. And I'd come out and they'd question it. They'd grill the shit out of me. Like, grill the shit out of me. And I remember I got a game from Microsoft for a review. Just a review. And they were like, I'm like, okay, well, look, I think it's coming out next week. I'm already done. And I think there's no NDA. Let me check. And I checked. There was like no NDA. And I was like, I think they're got the commercials releasing tonight. And I was like, so yeah, let's go ahead and talk about this. All of a sudden, I popped in this game. They went balls to the wall playing it for the next week. Like, I had like 3 or 4 of my friends at the house. Every one of them ended up buying a copy of the game. And that game today, as you know it, is Fable. And I was like, yeah. So, calm down. It's just the game. It is just the game. There's only a few. There's only a few, Dave. It's only a few. The ones who know. It's all good, man. And, you know, I have to do it sometimes. Sometimes I have to remind people, hey, you know, I've been here a lot longer. I'm old. I'm an old bastard. I'm an old bastard. That's just the way I am. I'm just friggin' old, man. You know? Like I said, I've been doing this since Muds, man. I've been doing it a long time. Long time. You know, Magic finally got a new HUD. I have to go check that out. I still remember when I was doing that for Wizards of the Coast. You know, the first Magic the Gathering Online. I was there for that one, too. That was when my daughter was just born, too. She was like 3 months old when I first... That was like 16 years ago when I was first testing for that interface. So yeah, it's been an evolution, man. It's been an evolution for me. And the funny thing about it is, I don't think people understand. Like, people will say, well, you're just a tester. I'm not just a tester. What I do, a beta tester is a tester, a person who's doing a stress test, a person who they're taking, you know, a large quantity. I'm an alpha. And alphas are a feedback source for the developers. They're a tool. That's what they are. They're tools. I'm a tool. I'm a, you know, a resource that can be utilized to give them an insight of how the game is working functionally on my end, and from a consumer standpoint, how I'm interacting with the game. And there's those testers are crucial, right, to development or final product. And or adaptations. You want gaming companies to succeed. You want them to succeed as a tester, right? That's what you want. You want them to succeed. You want them to have that. But from a testing standpoint, when I've said, and I have said multiple times, and Matt knows this firsthand. When I say no, this isn't going to work. I mean it. It's not going to work. NC, NC is the one that's always given me probably the most respect, and I give it up to NC. NC has always been really good to me, in the past. And, you know, I don't do it anymore. I don't test anymore. I don't do any of this. But NC has always never wrote me off. And I think that was something that I appreciate from that company, you know. They never just took something I said and just said, whatever, Mystic. Flush. There was a lot of decisions that NC made I didn't agree with, especially when they downsized their games. Tabula Rasa was one of my favorite games. I think under the conditions in which Richard had to develop the product, it was frustrating, and given the circumstances that he was gone, was even worse. I was playing the game when it was announced for the shutdown, and I was, you know, I really enjoyed that product. I enjoyed Tabula Rasa for what the environment in which it was, you know, presented. Sure, it fell short in a lot of ways, but the conception behind what they brought into the industry was some of the first elements that were brought into the MMO genre. And once again, I think Richard and them have a way of, you know, setting a standard or setting something that's going to have a trickle effect in the industry. And I always enjoyed seeing that. But when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, it's business, man. It is business. It's all about business, man. You better handle it. And I know a lot of people, you do know your stuff, bro. Outcast is just known for one game that he is beast at. Yeah, he's beast. He really is beast. He's beast. He is. Like, he's got some of the best transitions I've ever seen from a player. Going from the rotation pickup from Outcast. What I like about Outcast, and I think people overlook. I think he's young, you know, he's just young. He's good. He has insight, but his arrogance kind of gets in the way. And I think that's just an age thing. At his age, I was the same way. I'm not going to be naive and say I wasn't, because our experiences haven't developed. But one thing I loved about watching Outcast, and this is where I give credit to him, when you see his transition in DPS, his timing is the best. When you take a look at you look at his HUD and take a look at his dot application, look at the mechanics. Even if he pulls from the mechanic and he has to come back in, he never has to reset the rotation. He picks up the rotation where it leaves off. He's the most consistent player in this application to date that I've seen thus far from any content creator or streamer. So this is where my hat gets tipped off to him, because as a player, sometimes I can't even do that in any element. Even with or without a macro system, with or without a turn-based system, action or not, sometimes when you are avoiding a mechanic, you lose placement of rotation. But Outcast hardly ever does that. Hardly ever. And the functionality behind his resource management is present. So that's where I give it up. So I always tell people, man, I'm an asshole, I'm critical, but, it is what it is, it just is. And at the end of the day, I don't, like I said, I mean, they're young. They're just young. They're learning, all of them. Though most of those guys over there, they're just young. You just take them and you line them up and you put them side by side, and you're like, you're going to get there. You're in this phase where you're playing, you're a great gamer. Now you're competitive, and now you're becoming a very known, you're becoming a known tester. You're becoming a private tester or a private resource for a known company. These are credentials. Whether you like it or not, they're credentials. They are. It's like a resume to the gaming industry. Like when I posted on test companies and they're like, the first thing on alpha, if I've ever gone for a closed application, and there's closed applications, they're like, what experience do you have in alpha phase? And all of a sudden I can list down my resume, and there's no hesitation from a company, except if a dev knows me personally. It's like, there's a good and bad that comes with Mystic. Good because we can put him on an itinerary. We can give him a set number of things to do, and he'll do it. And we'll get those results back. Bad thing is, Mystic comes uncensored. Mystic will tell you if something is going to fucking epically fail. That's up to us if we want to take that burden on. It's a good and a bad thing at the same time. Good because at least, if we meet his standards, we don't have to worry about, disappointing a lot of target audience, because his standards are held high. But bad because if we're not meeting his standards, we can anticipate the trickle effect to occur. A lot of people, ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. Some people want to hope for the best, but like D&D, I love Turbine. Turbine brought me in for that project. I loved it. I love D&D. I got brought into that project. Turbine, once again, another company that did me really good. But I said to one of the developers, I don't get this. Your dungeons are awesome. Your graphics look really good. The combat mechanics are awesome. What I don't get is you're a hub-based game, and Guild Wars is offering the same experience for free, and you're trying to go for sub-base. I don't get that. I'm not saying the game isn't good. I'm saying I think you're setting yourself up for failure based on the business model. Once again, nobody wants to listen at times. And it's like, you need to pay attention to these people. You have to pay attention. Tabula Rasa sucked ass. It would have been better with action combat. But at the time, there was no action combat. At that time, there was none. DC had not been pushed out yet. So for an MMO, DC and Terra were the first Twitch-based games for an MMO, for MMOs. And there was multiplayer games, but for a full immersive MMO with class-based system, there was no action-based combat. It wasn't until Twitch system was introduced that action completely could take over. To this day, we don't really see an action-based combat in the MMO genre. It's Twitch-based. There is a Twitch-based system. So GCDs still apply, or the same rule sets to the same effects of dot management, hot management still apply to the action system. So there is no true action system in the element to say it's like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat. Those are action games, right? Anything that has to apply a dot effect, a timed effect, or a GCD of any effect or subsequently trigger is called Twitch. It's called a Twitch system. So in the MMO genre, we don't really have a true action system. It doesn't exist. It's a faux pas. It's just a figment of everybody's fucking imagination. That's what it is. Combat is a little bit more diverse between each game, but Tabula Rasa, what Tabula Rasa brought to the gaming industry, and what Richard... Now, you have to understand, they scrapped the first project, Dave. I didn't know if you knew that. So, Phantasy Star Online had action combat. It did, but it's a Twitch system. It wasn't like... It didn't... It still had a turn-based system, mechanics. You still had a system in which you still... You know, there was a relay system to it. You're right to the effect of the way the system was implemented. But it still literally wasn't like a Street Fighter. There is no real action combat in the MMO genre. There isn't. There has never been like Street Fighter Online MMO. Like, I think Black Desert comes close, but it still plays the Twitch mechanics. So there is a difference between action. They label it action to draw it in. But it's technically Twitch mechanics. They're called Twitch mechanics, right? Because it takes the turn-based element of auto mechanics and alleviates the auto system is all it does. It's like literally taking out the auto mechanics, reducing the global cooldown next to nothing or bare bone. Phantasy Star Universe had action combat. Listen, Dave, I love you, brother. Anything with a dot mechanic that's class-based is not action. It's considered Twitch. Because it has to play off the rule set of subsequent coding. Action combat has no... Like, basically, it's like this. An action combat system, it's like Street Fighter. You're pulling combos. That's action. There's one effect that leads to another effect to leads to another effect. And without any reset of a said protocol. Right. That's called Twitch. That's what I'm saying. Right. It's a Twitch system. It does lead to an action combat system to a degree. I agree with you. But it's not full immerse action. And I don't think in the MMO genre you can truly have 100% action combat. Right? You can't... Like, I think the closest thing you see, like I said, Black Desert, or some could even argue PlanetSide, and PlanetSide 2, because it was a shooter, but we still had like a dot effect. BC, Twitch, and action are very close in nature. Right, absolutely. I agree 100%. I agree 100% with your statement. 100%. It is very close. It's basically trying to bridge the two, is what it's doing. It's taking an old turn-based system and basically taking the auto mechanics, flushing it out, and trying to implement the action response system into the mechanics. That's what it's doing. It's trying to bridge the gap. It's what it's trying to implement. And there's a lot of games that do really well in it, you know, but there is no true action combat. I typed that at the same time before you read it. Nice. No, I agree. I agree with you. I totally do. But there's just no like. I think a lot of people, when we see action, we're like, oh yes, and we run to it, right? Because we're associating the combat system or the experience, I should say. But it in a mechanical setup and configuration and resolution, it doesn't resolve the same. No, but as close as you can get. Right. Absolutely. I agree with that. But once again, it does. There is a slight difference. That's all I'm saying. It's a slight difference. There is a slight difference. And Tabula Rasa. Okay, so Richard, its team had to scrap the first combat because remember they partnered with NC Soft. Right now, I wasn't during this phase. I bought into Tabula Rasa well after. I was working on something else for another company at the time. Well, not working on, I mean testing for, I should say. But I got into Tabula Rasa late, and it was actually an MM. It was supposed to be an MMO that was completely like combat related, but it didn't. It ended up flushing itself. But so all of a sudden, I get into it, and I hear all these little stories. They, running behind. They had to redo it. La 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 la. Me and my friend bought it. We actually bought into it. I got the collector's edition. I went full blown. I'm like, Richard Garriott, shit, hand it over. Hand over the collector's edition. I'll try it out. Now, at first, there was a lot of the initial HUD wasn't like phenomenal, but it was more open than the associated turn-based systems. Like, it brought me back to a more simplistic UO standard, but more like it didn't have like it should have been a little bit better with the icons. Is all I'm saying. But as far as the class system went, the base functionality was there. It was present. So what made Tabula Rasa a really good game? What drew you into Tabula Rasa? The environmental events that could be triggered was one of the first set to the industry. One of the first, not the first, but one of the first. So, depending on the circumstances in each coordinated area, right, you could literally get an environmental condition to occur, like an alien invasion or something, or base loadout. And then people would go get into these large battles fighting off NPCs, and people would start to scale. So it didn't matter on level, their XP gain would scale. It was one of the first systems to effectively do that in an open world environment. And most people overlook that. They overlooked it. It was like, do you know what Richard Garriott just did? Yo, Jackson, what's up? How you doing? I'm like, do you know what Richard Garriott and his team just brought to the gaming industry? Do you understand the relevance? It gives you much better gameplay while running all the other attacks versus defensive skills under the hood. Why I can't go back to tab target. Tab target, though, to me is that tab target doesn't bother me. It's irrelevant to a player like me. I like your armor. Oh, thank you, man. Thanks, Jackson. I like that. Thank you, brother. Yeah, I put this together. I thank you so much, man. Yeah, I kind of like the way I looked out. I put it together too. Thank you, man. Tab target for me isn't like, it's not the problem of the tab target. It's combat sequencing. That's why I didn't like turn-based. Going back to a turn-based system, right? Like you have to. It's like it's almost premeditative because you can't do function B without function A. That's why why sometimes a turn-based system doesn't appeal to me. It's not the targeting system that bothers me as a player. Action, like, if you go to Fortnite and you're on a keyboard and mouse, you can tab. over. You know, you can look and your sights are, you know, kind of, you can sight over. You know, it's like, yeah, whatever. So targeting system doesn't bother me, but you know, some people it does. You know, I can't say it doesn't. But at the same time, sequencing. That's why I never thought I went to go back to a turn-based game. Sequencing. Raven, what's up? No more pressing a button and having to read your attacks, misses, and the fact that you can actively dodge attacks. Then once again, though, we have that in ESO. That's ESO. When you do a dodge roll, you get auto dodge. Yeah, so your points mute on that. You just flush that theory down the toilet. I played Tabula Rasa for a month, but it didn't catch me. Right. Many of my friends got hooked on it because of the way the environmental conditions were set. We just wish it would have developed to an end game. There was no end game to it. We got hooked on, you know, trying to trigger every fucking event we could trigger. And trying to meet every condition to trigger each event. We got hooked on it. Some were more, you know, they even had the mothership and stuff, like the crash mothership, tons of shit, but no end game development. And by the time Richard got back, the announcement was made. Shit was closing up. I think it was launched for like less than a year, 6 months. I think it like 6-7 months, and it was announced it was shutting down. But they shut down like NC was shutting down tons of shit. It wasn't just Tabula Rasa that got an axe. So I told people, you got to understand at that time where NCSoft was. I know where NCSoft was for other reasons. And that's nobody's business. But there was a lot of companies getting axed. There was a lot of things going on in the industry at that time. And Richard Garrett, I think they could have had something a little bit better. You know, under the circumstances, I felt like they delivered something unique to the industry without a lot of things that should have been foundational elements, like lore, endgame. The lack of that elements it was pressing. So. But yeah, so I mean, when we take a look at like the system, once again, Elder Scrolls Online has an auto mechanic. Well, it has auto mechanics. It has it. When you do a dodge roll, immunity, auto immunity. I mean, come on, man. It's still relevant to the system. So, like I said, you don't have a true action system. You have Twitch. It's a Twitch system. It always is going to be a Twitch system, right? Always. It has to play to the rules. It has to. You can't get around it. Not in the genre, you know, the way it's, set up. So, I mean, I think, but I agree with you. Like, each person has a preference. Everybody has a preference. What they're attracted to, what they're not attracted to. What leads you into a game, what drives you away from a game. And you got to look at pros and cons on a very, very microscopic level, and you have to critique it justly. You have to be able to, and I think that from my standpoint, that's where I'm at. That's the type of person I am. I can say pros, I can tell you a lot of pros about a product, but I can turn around and I can fucking make it almost seem like you should never fucking touch a product. Right? In the same tone, you know, with the same affliction. And it's not to say that the game isn't without its assets. I loved Earth and Beyond. Broke my heart when it got shut down, right? You know, there were so many things that got lost, right? There was so many things. City of Heroes. City of Heroes to me was sometimes mind-numbing. The instance element to the game, but the environment, the friggin' events were really good. You know, the events were awesome. That in City of Heroes, That's what made, and then the player created content was a little overwhelming when it came out, but Cryptic, once again proved, we can go ahead and put a tool in the game that allows players to create content. I thought that was so cool. It reminded me of Neverwinter. Not Neverwinter, their game. The other game, D&D. Tried Eve, and I was like, F that. Eve is hardcore, man. Eve is hardcore. I played Eve for a little bit. I couldn't get into it as much as like some other players, but Eve is hardcore. Eve is hardcore. But it's badass. Graphically, it always looked good, and it runs so much better now. And you got to think of where Eve was, right? A lot of people thought Eve was just never going to make it. People thought Eve would have gotten shut down within the first year, and Eve is still thriving. It goes to show what can happen when companies know where their faults are and where they need to make improvements, right? But you got to have that. You have to have that mentality. You have to understand that in this genre and within the genre, the companies that thrive are the ones that adapt. The ones who do not adapt, and the ones who are bullheaded, and the ones who say, no, we don't do that, you're going to sink. You're going to fucking sink. It's like, come on, man. Come on. Don't do it, man. I like City of Heroes, but got bored. DCUO, much better game for me. DC is still, to me, is my go-to game. I tell people go to DC. I can't play it currently because of what Daybreak did. I'd probably still be playing it had Daybreak not done what they did, but it's a principle for me. It's not that I don't like the game or I don't like the developers. I love Ocean and them and, the developers. I'm no MEPS. God, I'm no MEPS for a long time. I would tell people go play it. Their staff is really good. They do a great job. They're understaffed. I wish there would be a little bit more content, but the context in which they deliver is impeccable. I know a lot of people aren't attracted to the graphics, but the combat system is by far some of the best combat system I've ever played. I wish I could have a little bit more switch play. I wish they'd reduce the GCD so you could get a little bit more switch time in between your rolls. But hey, Eve is for the elite of the elite. Yeah, Eve is hardcore. Eve is no joke hardcore. Like hardcore. But most of the time you're in a ship. Yo, Irish, what's up, dude? I had some balls last night, didn't I? I don't know if you got to watch that vid, man. But if that shit comes to fruition, oh my God. Everybody will know. Everybody will know. I set the clock, time will tell. I set the clock. Time will tell. I'll tell you guys. I'll tell you. And Matt knows better. Matt does. Well, I've been down this road. I've been down this road. Seriously, come on, man. Come on now. Can't just, All right, I do got to get going. I've got a important meeting to attend to at 11, so I've got to get ready. Got to get my clothes, and I have clothes on. I got to get my other attire, on and get things taken care of today. But I'll be on later on this afternoon. But yeah, I honestly think there's a lot of good things that the gaming industry is going to flourish. We're going to see more competitive market in the future, long after I'm gone, even. But the way game development is currently and the way it will be is going to change. The way the industry is going to present its products is going to change. The media in which players have accessibility to is going to change. And technology to house the way we experience our gaming is going to change. What vid? The vid I did last night on the ESO servers. Yeah. I called it. I set the time. I set the clock, and time will tell. Yeah, I set that bitch. I said it. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. I better hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Me and Irish had this conversation. Didn't we, Cal? We had this conversation. I had this conversation. I'm like, I hope I'm wrong. I hope if it shuts down within that time frame, any hiccup within that time frame that becomes a massive, I'll be like throwing up my hands like, what up, bitches? Who's the fucking man? Nobody in the industry will ever doubt it again. Ever. Nobody will ever be able to speak to me on my level. Nobody will be ever on it. I'll be like, what? You got a degree in what? Computer science? And you're what? You know, hey, man, check this out, man. I'm psychic. No, I'm not psychic. Oh, no. Hell no. I'm not psychic. It's just like, I'll be, it's whatever. Experience. It's just experience, man. It's experience. It comes with time. It just reminds me. Oh, chill. I'll leave you guys off with this. What was it? Hold on. So I have a backstory to this, but I'm not gonna actually get into it. So one of my favorite. I used to listen to Bone. I'm from Ohio. I actually recorded in the studio, the Mothug studio. So I was in the music there for a minute in my younger days. I won't get into everything. But I was a big fan of their Mothug movement. And one of the songs I loved was this song, and I love this song. And some of you guys might recognize some of the opening statements if you never heard it. Some of you guys might remember it if you used to listen to it. Toxic, what's up? Still beating that dead horse about yeah. I called it. I set that time. Dead horse. It's all over the forums. Cross me and you die is very necessary. Realize that you asked for this. That niggas never coming back no more. Coming up in the hood with desperate hustling every day. Cross me and you die is very necessary. Realize you asked for this. That niggas never coming back no more. I was no potentials coming up as a little nigga, fucking suckers up for the love of disgust. But when them chicks be running their mouth trying to come real out the girl, it never faded a nigga once. And twice is just nice if you like. I got the balls to say this bigger nigga in charge. I got my clip for extra hip for them suckers to slip. Niggas better realize in this situation, cross me and you die. Better you than me. Cross me and you die, motherfucker. That's how I feel, about ready to get the flippin' and show you hoes my winning skill. I'm just that little nigga you don't wanna ever see. Leaving your bitches in puddles of blood, nigga, what? Bailing and sweating, dodging popo, ride to get my shit. Load up another clip, red beam, now your ass is hit. Murder, more murder, bloody blood, as the dead bodies got it. Just shoot 'em up, breaking necks. I got it. Coming up in the hood with desperate hustling every day. Cross me and you die is very necessary. And if you die, realize that you asked for this. And niggas never coming back no more. Coming up in the hood with desperate hustling every day. Cross me and you die is very necessary. And if you die, realize you asked for this. And niggas never coming back no more. I'm
I'm loading my pistol, I'm aiming to kill ya. With a hollow point tip that'll feel ya. By ripping your chest, a nigga was pressed for my goods, but a nigga straight picture. So I send them straight to hell. It's so would dwell in a place of darkness, running in circles, bellowing curses. I'm giving up no mercy, but the test your death was a bloody measure. To see in his face when he hit the dirt. What jerk? Better hurt for fucking with a nigga that put in so much work. I'm a soldier in war when it comes out war, won't blame me no more. I'm Tony Tone, you're wondering why you're fried. You cross me
Now,
and you
how many know this?
If the wicked man turns away from evil and does what is just and right, he will
Surely live and shall not die.
But for those who cross me,
You will know my name is the Lord.
when
I lay my vengeance upon thee. Yes.
Coming up in the hood with desperate hustling every day.
Cross me and you die is very necessary.
And if you die, realize you asked for this. That niggas never coming back no more.
No. Hell
In the
no.
hood with desperate hustling every day.
Cross me and you die is very necessary.
And if you die, realize you asked for this. That niggas never coming back no more. Coming up in the hood with desperate hustling every day.
Cross me and you die is very necessary.
And if you die, realize you asked for this. That niggas never coming back no more.
Okay, so that song has two culture references to it, right? Two. One from The Exorcist, that we hear that in The Exorcist, right? You know, music, that little so you hear that and you're like, it's from The Exorcist. So it's kind of cool. And then we see the saying that those, you know, when he starts preaching, and that's from Pulp Fiction. So it's like two really good references laid out, you know, from it in its. But anyways, what I really liked about the song "Cross Me and You Die," you know, it's like, you know, it's to me it's more metaphoric, you know, in nature. But it's like, you know, bad things happen when you go against, you know, you know, this. If you're going to go against me, bad things are going to happen. Bad things are just going to, you know, if you don't pay attention, bad things can occur. And if you're coming direct at it, yeah, let the cards fall where they may. You know, it's going to happen. It's like, you know, if I've said it, and I keep repeating this, and I've done this, Mr. Smeedley, if I've said things in the past, you know, Matt, what's up? If I've said these things in the past, you take it as a law. Yeah, if I say it, it's not a guess. It's not a, you know, like, well, let's just bargain on it and let's throw our dice. You know, it's a fucking law, man. You know, cross it. Cross it. See what happens, man. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck. I wish you the best. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it. I really do. I do. But I've just probably set the bar so goddamn high. I probably set the bar so high. Like I said, I don't give a shit if 100 see it. I don't give a shit if 1,000 see it. I don't give a shit if 1,000,000 see it. I don't give a shit. If it comes to fruition that a hiccup, a fucking little hiccup, even pops off during that launch, I will forever, ever, ever be labeled as, oh shit, remember, Mystic saying. Oh shit, Mystic. Oh, there will be somebody a long time from now being like, he was the person in the industry calling all the bullshit. There it is, motherfuckers. What's up? Can't get on my level? These fools don't know. Not even the best in the industry can be on that. They're like, give it up, y'all. And that's why. Separate yourselves, man. Separate yourselves. You want to be the best at what you do? You want to be the best? separate yourself. Because when you separate yourself, there is no competition. There is none. There is no competition when nobody can compete with where you're at because you're on a whole nother level. Don't compete with their expectations or their standards. Set your standards and separate yourselves. That's my recommendation in life. You'll get further ahead, you know. And then all of a sudden, when they're trying to chase you down, you've already set all the bars. They've got to jump those hurdles. You were busy laying the tracks, and they were just, you know, trying to keep up. Okay? There you go. There you have it. Once again, I want to thank everybody. Thank you guys for stopping in, Dave. Really good conversation. Toxic, thank you for stopping in. Jackson, thank you for stopping in. Sylvia, thank you for stopping in. Kel, you guys better know who Irish Mage is. Go check him out. Jackson, too. He's a content creator. Also, Purple Haze, my boy, my brother. You guys better check it out. If you don't know who Purple Haze Gaming is, he is a PvPer on ESO, and the man puts it down. Trust me. Go check him out. Every expansion loss have hiccups. No, they don't. No, they don't, Dave. Nope. Nope. BC never had a hiccup. Never. Burning Crusades never had a hiccup. Wrath of the Lich King never had a crash. Never crashed. Rift, none of their expansions never crashed a server. This game had a new engine implemented. And Heaven's Ward never hiccuped up. Stormblood never hiccuped. No expansion. If an expansion causes a server to ever deviate and a node to completely collapse, never. I'll be forever, ever the man in the industry. And I'm calling it. I set the clock. Time will tell. No, you're wrong. A bug, yes. A server glitch, no. Never. That's an anomaly that most avoid. Remember World of Warcraft, when they launched AQ, it shut down the servers. Within the week, they had replacement servers. That's still documented. They have documentation on that. But Mystic's out here calling it. I hope I'm wrong. I hope so. I hope. I pray. I don't want to be right. I want to be wrong. But I'll tell you what. If it happens 2 months before launch, Mystic calling some shit like that. Woo! Be epic. In every proportion. Forever grained. It'll be epic. And while all these other content creators are sucking their dicks, I'll be standing being like, get the fuck off, bitches. No, but they had bugs. No, yeah, but I'm telling you what's happening. I set the time. Those servers, if they don't do something serious, and I'm talking very serious, there is going to be a huge problem with a node collapse or the entire server collapsing on itself. I won't get into the technical details. I don't need to. I set that time. What's up? And then everybody who's ever think they know anything can all bow the fuck down. I'll be like, bow down, bitches. Bow down. You ain't on my level. You never were. I'll be like, bow down. It'll be awesome. I hope I'm wrong. Never wanted to be wrong more than in my life. But I'll tell you, it'll set it. It'll forever be grain. When people are talking about it, if it happens, and other content creators, a bunch of other stuff. A hiccup is a bug. I didn't watch the other vid. A hiccup, listen, what I'm trying to tell you, Dave, I've gone over it. The server is potentially going to collapse. There's going to be a node problem depending on... The server's bad. It's bad. You're running a 250 ping rate. It's terrible. That's unheard of. There's no game. That's the worst that you can ever get in the industry. The worst. 300. There's people hitting 300. That's the goddamn worst. It's the worst. It's unexcusable in this industry. You'd be better on dial-up. You'd have more reliability on dial-up. There is something fucked up. Now, I'm not there. I can't dissect that. But they have, you know, I wouldn't go through the text. If it's a server problem, I communicate with the engineers and try to get to the bottom of it. The software engineer and the server engineer. Those two people need to be referenced. They need to correlate, and they need to get it resolved. Whether it be software, it can be resolved. If it's hardware, it can be resolved. But you have to understand, you know, there's a lot of different parts of the software. Hardware is one thing, but software is another, right? And those things have to be dissected. You have a big chapter coming in with a lot of data, right? That's going to be pulling. They're trying to separate that data now to isolate and increase performance. That's not going to be enough with the introduction of the amount of data that's being poured into the game. Once this gets implemented, it's a cause and effect. It's cause and a fucking effect. But you can see the servers crashing. Yeah, if it does, I'll be forever legend. It's legend. It's history. Boom, boom, boom. It's terrible. It's all over the forums. The customers are outcrying. There's like literally so many people crying about it now. And they're getting ignored. And that's why I left. And I'm like, listen, Matt, I'm telling you, if you never listen to me, Matt knows who I am. Matt knows who I am. I'm like, I'm trying to tell you, you got to get this resolved. It has to happen. You no longer have the option. It's out of your option. The board doesn't have an option. They think they have an option. They don't anymore. Unless you want the biggest flop of an expansion in MMO history. You have one company who's going to break MMO records this year, and you have the complete polar opposite that's going to happen with another competitive company. That's going to make the biggest disasters in MMO history coming up if things aren't handled precariously. It's like these are relative. These are crucial. And if you are arrogant and bullheaded, then you're going to suffer the consequences. It's just like you can't afford to be that stupid right now. You can't even afford to be that dumb or that bullheaded. You have to take the precautions necessary to ensure success. It's in your best interest as a company. Right or wrong. It makes sense, right? So the only person who you're going to prove anything to is yourself. You're not proving anything to me. You're not proving anything to your customers. You're not proving anything to your employees. The only thing you're proving anything to is yourself. It's like, come on, man. Let it go. Let it go. Take care of what needs to be taken care of. Learn your lessons. And just get on with it, man. You know? Come on now. They have the type of people that can do it. Or they can, outsource it. But either way, it's going to have to be resolved. And if it crashes, and which I hope it doesn't, I'm saying this for the record, but if it does, I set the time. Time will tell. And I will be forever. And if I become right on this, I will forever be known as why the top companies pulled me in. Why they outsourced to me. Why they did it. And anybody who ever questions me ever again gets to go bowing the fuck down. Let it be known. I hope I'm wrong. I don't want to be right. Anyways, I got to let you guys go. I got to get going. Thank you, David, for stopping in. Thank you, everybody. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it pans out. Once again, I'm Mr. Craven. This is Mystics MMOs. As always, thank you, guys. Have a nice day.